Welcome back to the Leverage Living podcast. We're living every night like it's a Friday and every morning like it's a Monday. Ryan, we're back, baby. How you doing?
Feels good to be back. We took a couple weeks off, busy counting the profits, but we finally got through it.
Yep, and we're here. We're here. What are you drinking today? This Saturday
Um,
night.
Believe it or not, I'm treating myself.
Mm.
I got a little thing. I call it the redhead. One of my favorite wines. It's kind of tough to see, as an expert in podcasting. I got the ring light. It's a Bella Gloss Pinot
Okay,
Noir,
there it is.
the redhead.
No hair, just a redhead.
Just a redhead. But, you favored it a little more than you did that stepchild.
How is it?
Wow. Just the first thing I notice is the tannin structure. Perfect.
Strong?
Just, yeah, great tannins, velvety, smooth wine, plenty of dark fruit. It's kind of fruit forward, but it has a long finish. So if you're a Pinot Noir guy, Bella Gloss, this is the way to go. And
Or girl.
or girl, yeah. And we just had we had some steaks tonight, and it paired incredibly well.
Awesome. I saw you eating some cheese a little earlier too.
Always,
Gotta have that combo.
of course, of
Gotta
course.
have it.
How about yourself, Bryce? What do you got?
Um, for me today, since it's getting to be that holiday season, people are getting in the mood of the holidays, Christmas time, Christmas cheer. We got some Evan Williams Kentucky cider whiskey, and
Wow.
let me tell you, it's dangerous. Like you can't even taste any whiskey in it at all. Tastes like Christmas morning in Grandma's house. Those red
Hey,
hot tamales, the apple cider. It's got that nice cinnamon nutmeg kind of. It's got the nutmeg smell to it.
well,
I saw that there and I was like, this has got to be a thing.
that's a good grab. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I would highly recommend it.
I've never went wrong soaking in cider.
And you never will.
You never
You
will.
can't. All right, let's get into it. Some big news since we last had these conversations. So last week the S&P fell for the first time in 3 weeks. People were back and forth. Are we going to get stimulus? Are we going to get a vaccine? What's going to happen? Well, stimulus hasn't quite happened yet. Obviously, the House, the Senate, they can't quite come to a agreement. But vaccine news. That's big. Pfizer announced that their vaccine is efficacious, and it got accepted, and it's being
Ferocious.
yeah, and it's being distributed around the U.S. now. So that's huge news, and that just happened yesterday, Friday.
Yeah. Um,
So
Friday, FDA did the
yep.
emergency approval.
So next week,
I'm gonna be.
inject it right into the veins.
Yeah,
Inject
I
it
might
right
do
into the
double.
veins. Yeah, yeah. So we're expecting quite a big turnaround in the markets next week. The inflation gauge we wanted to mention this time. Consumer prices rose more than economists thought they would. They were up 0.2% relative to the previous months after no change in October. The rising costs in hotels, plane tickets, they triggered last month's rise. So we'll see if that keeps going up with if they throw out a stimulus bill, they might have to keep
Yeah.
increasing those, especially with the tax rates. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. 0.2% doesn't seem like a lot, but you multiply that over 300 million people,
Yeah, it
she'll add
adds
up
up.
quick.
It becomes a number.
Yeah, it sure does.
Um, yeah, I was going to piggyback on what you said. It's great to see the vaccine news, and hopefully we'll have a bump on Monday because it was after market close Friday that the emergency use authorization was issued for Pfizer's vaccine. So now the main point the market's going to be looking at is, are we going to get some type of stimulus? And I believe there's a short-term bill that was signed basically to fund the government, because any stimulus that comes about or is passed, that's going to be attached to at least, I think, like a $1.4 trillion measure that must pass by the 18th of December
Yeah,
to avert a government shutdown. So it's kind of funny. Every single year, it seems like it's like, oh, we got to kick the can down the road again. Otherwise, we're going to have to shut the government down. So let's borrow more money.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
The other thing is, I guess notable news for the prior week. Bitcoin is a little volatile. We've been talking about the Bitcoin trade since around 13,000, I think, is when we started bringing it up and getting some exposure. But it fell about 5% for the week. The price actually went below 18,000 on Friday, which was just a few days after it nearly, it got into the 19s a little bit. So I did watch, or I did see it's rebounded today. It's started nipping at the 19,000 mark again. And just as a reminder, Bitcoin started the year at about $8,000, and it wasn't until October that it was about 10,000 a coin. So, we've seen a double in the Bitcoin market since October, which is still a pretty strong move.
Yeah, and you see more businesses such as PayPal, they keep buying it up, buying it up. So, if they have conviction in it, it makes it a little more safe in my eyes to throw some money at it as well.
Yeah, I think the the waves of investment for Bitcoins and cryptocurrency back in 2017 when we had that madness, I think there's a lot of retail idiots like you and I. But now we're seeing some of the institutional money go in. So you're seeing a lot more institutional money managers talking about it, and there's potentially some more, I guess, optimism around it becoming an easier traded instrument financially with a change in administration. So
Right.
Janet Yellen is not a big Bitcoin fan, so that's not
Ah.
exactly helpful to the cause, but who knows? Maybe we'll see some increased adoption.
Well, you look at the different types of asset classes, real estate, stocks, all that stuff. Bitcoin has been far outperforming all of those by
Oh yeah,
hundreds, thousands of percentages
every
over this
year.
year. So
I don't want to
it's
go
not
too far.
dumb.
I don't want to go too far off of a Bitcoin tangent, but sometimes I talk to people about Bitcoin or a digital currency in itself, and they'll look at me like I have two heads. And I kind of think back to, okay, let's put ourselves back in the early days where there wasn't a Federal Reserve printing dollar bills. I mean, we were bartering, right? We were using beaver pelts.
Right. You're going way back.
Yeah, wait. I mean, that's how. So, currency used to be, physical goods.
Right.
I just want, what do you think people thought when they said, hey, instead of trading these things of value, what you need for what you need, what you have for what you need, let's print paper and have that represent a store value. They're probably like, okay, you're crazy. Why would we want to have, what can I do with paper or coins?
And before that even was gold, and that's, you're taking a rock out of the earth and here, this is worth this.
Yeah, so gold, like you
Yeah.
said, it's just like this is a metal that really has no manufacturing purposes.
It was just over there and I found it. Here it is. Do you want it?
We're going to say it's valuable, and it's, as long as you think it's worth more than I do, then the price can keep going up.
Exactly.
So as our economy is so, it's not, it doesn't have a lot of history in terms of how it functions now. With the technological advancements. So if you were going to start from scratch and there was no currencies today, would you print it on paper?
No,
or would you design
got to
a
make it
digital
digital.
currency? Exactly.
Right.
So,
and especially at this one, the supply and demand is so every 4 years, they split it,
it's
so
finite.
Right. So it's got to increase in value. There's no other option.
Yeah. So I think from a conceptual standpoint, not to mention, and we could do a whole other episode about all the applications that you can use
Mm-hmm.
for certain cryptocurrencies, digital currencies when it comes to transacting. We talk about real estate on this podcast. Imagine if we could create a contract digitally where
Right.
you sell me a property and I provide you with a digital currency, and that gets automatically executed by that digital contract instead of a third party.
I like
So,
that.
yeah, a lot of great app use cases for it. We're still pretty early though, so it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see how that continues to evolve.
And what I see with it is we don't know when it's going to have that big pop. So it's good to have some now, but there's also the opportunity cost of owning it,
Yeah,
which we'll go into now of why kind of the opportunity cost. Um, the SPAC game has been flying.
yeah,
SPAC for some of our
yeah. There's
listeners,
there's
maybe.
a reason this is not a box of Franzia, okay? And that's because of SPACs.
Oh man, yeah, they've been going crazy the last couple weeks for
They have.
sure. Um, let's get into some of what we did.
Okay.
You want to start it off?
Yeah. So we'll recap a couple trades that we've spoke about on this podcast, as well as trades that we've posted on our TikTok. So I think that's one thing. We took a couple weeks off, and as we go through this, I think we should do more trades on our TikToks because that's the quickest way to say, okay, this is what the leverage living guys said when they said it, what the price was. So
Mm-hmm.
one of them that's on our TikTok is mind medicine. We covered that on a podcast. We've touched on it, I think, a couple times on our show. Um,
And it's OTC,
yeah,
over
over
the
the
counter.
counter. So not available on Robinhood yet, but it's getting close to where I think that could be possible. So when we initially got in, the cost basis was just under 70 cents. So relatively early. Based on where it's at now, but that was just in October, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
we posted a TikTok video. I think it was like $1.06 when we did the TikTok, and when we did featured it on our podcast. But essentially, mind medicine is psilocybin, so that's a hallucinogenic, but they're studying it for different mental, I guess, capabilities.
Alzheimer's, depression, things
Yeah,
along those lines.
yeah, anxiety. There's just a ton of applications.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now it's at $3.60,
Bingo.
and so yeah, so you go from under 70 cents to over $3.50. That's a pretty good run from October to December. The next catalyst is it transitioning from over the counter to being listed on the NASDAQ. And I think that could happen once the stock hits $4 a share. So right now the market cap's around $1 billion. And I want to make a comparison to Compass Pathways. That's a similar stock that had a similar transition to this. So it was over the counter, and then it had enough of the metrics met so it could be uplisted onto the NASDAQ. It shot up 76% when that happened. So I
There's some demand behind it then.
yes, I mean all of a
It's
sudden it's available to a lot more people. The Robinhooders can get in. That's trading at about a $2 billion valuation. Mind Medicine's at about $1 billion. I strongly believe that this stock will be over $6 within the next few months.
That'll be huge.
Yes. So, I mean, I bought even more last week, and I'm purchasing it in my Roth IRA. It actually was like the biggest holding in my Roth because I had a lot of conviction that this was going to move strong and fast, and I did not want to pay taxes on those gains. So,
Set it and forget it.
yeah, and I think we're so early for this space that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that this is one. Forget you own it. Take another look in 5 years.
And Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank. Kevin O'Leary is an investor in it, isn't he?
Yeah, he was one of the early investors in this company, and I think when they came over the counter. He was up on the podium with them ringing their initial
Yeah, I
listing
thought I
bell.
saw that. So that's not
Yeah.
a bad luck to have one
No.
of the most popular investors of all time behind your
Yep.
company while it's
So
still in its early stages like this.
so keep an eye on that one. If there's any pullbacks, buy. I will be. And look at others in the space. There's a couple other names, but we are so early on. Think back to Tilray, marijuana, when the cannabis sector was hot. I think that's where we're at with this.
Yeah.
So keep that one on your radar. The next one, Switchback Energy. This was a SPAC, still is a SPAC, but it is still a SPAC, right?
Ticker SBE, merging with ChargePoint. Yes, it's still a SPAC.
Okay, yes.
Um,
Because I was like, is the company name Switchback Energy? I forgot for a second, but yeah, merging with ChargePoint. So
there's a lot of things to remember.
there is. I made a joke with our friend Jay, who's in our investing group chat, that we could have like a SPAC flashcard game, a drinking game, where you put the ticker up and then the person has to say the net asset value and the company it's merging
And the
with.
DALOI.
Yeah, there's so much to remember.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Yeah, Switchback Energy, that's one we've called out. And the analogy we used for this one was because it's the largest charging station in the United States.
And it's been around the longest too.
Yeah,
Longest and
most
oldest.
well established. So we said instead of betting on a horse, why not own the horse track? And that's what
Yeah.
this one was. So we were in at 14, and we just dumped at just about 40. So, I think both you and I had about 190 some percent gain on those. And also, if you look back on our TikToks and we did that, we talked about, and I showed on my portfolio doing a put sale of 10 contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So that put sale that I did is actually up 84% now. And I think that's made several $1,000s too. So that's been a very profitable one. But going from 14 to 40 in that short amount of time, it's getting a little rich now. So
yeah, and it's slowed down way
yeah.
too much to like we said earlier about opportunity cost. You see it start to slow down as much as it has after that 14 to 40 run up in such a small period of time. When you see it hit 38, 39, and then stick at 39, 50, 40 for 3 weeks straight, it's time to get rid of it.
Yeah, bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. So we have to keep that in mind on some of those fast runners.
And it's just nice to be in at net asset value as much as possible, because you never know when you're going to get the like I see the next one you're going to talk about is a good example. We got in on this one really early, and it released its rumor or its LOI, letter of intent, and it actually it's not even LOI yet, isn't it? Just rumor still. Oh no, it's LOI. It is.
It is LOI.
It's not. Yeah, it's LOI.
So, as Bryce said, conceptually, what we're trying to do is not maximize profit. We are trying to minimize risk, have the best risk-adjusted returns. That's why we will rotate into some of these names that we think have a lot of upside, but also have very limited downside. So Tuscan
asymmetric risk reward.
Asymmetric risk and reward. We're leveraging living and investing and SPACs.
Yeah.
The next one is Tuscan Holdings. So it's THCB. There's also a THCA. So Tuscan itself has a couple SPACs. THCB, we got into that one at about $10.44. And I remember we were talking about the net asset value was like 10.22. So we had about a 22-cent floor downside, maximum loss, and uncapped upside. So bought several thousand shares of that. It's currently at 15.89. So you have a 50+% return. And when you establish that position, you had a 22-cent a share downside. So that's
right. Then you take that over what 3 days it happened in.
Yeah,
I think we held it for less than a week.
Annualize that, and you're beating the market. So Tuscan Holdings is partnering with Microvast. If you watched, was QuantumScape KCAC before?
Yep, Kensington Capital.
Kensington Capital was a SPAC. KCAC merged with QuantumScape. Microvast definitely going to be considered to be a competitor, similar line of business as QuantumScape. So solid state batteries.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is Microvast already has sales, which I don't. QuantumScape is like trading on their imaginary numbers 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
So
they don't come out with the battery until 2022, or I think.
Yeah,
or is it even longer than that?
They don't have a product out there, and they're trading.
Yeah, like they can say whatever they want,
Exactly. It's
working for them, I guess. Their stock went up to $75, so
yeah. So
crazy.
we trimmed a little bit just because that risk reward reduced. We had a 50% gain quick, but still holding some Tuscan B, partially because of what we saw with the QuantumScape run. So I still think that one, we could see a run to 20 in not too long.
We saw a little sympathy play with Luminar Technologies and Velodyne as well. Luminar had the ticker LAZR, which our hypothesis was that, hey, cool ticker.
Yeah.
It's going to shoot up. But Velodyne is actually the larger company with more revenue.
Yeah.
So we got into Velodyne and we watched Velodyne shoot up 13-14% off that sympathy play, we were calling it, from laser. So it's something to watch out for. And with Microvast QuantumScape, we'll probably see the same thing, especially when news gets out that Microvast actually has a product.
Yeah, it's sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to these, so it's kind of interesting. But we don't want to kind of feel confident on just rampant speculation for no reason. So we're trying to cycle into better names.
Right.
Lastly, talked about Bitcoin still holding. However, if you own a coin, you have about $19,000 tied up. It's not marginable. So, and it's been pretty flat, up and down for the last week or so. So we're starting to think, is this opportunity cost worth it with Bitcoin, or could we put it into some more of these SPACs that are around the net asset value and see easier pops? So I'm still going to hold definitely at least one coin, but would maybe trim a little bit to put some more into SPACs.
Yeah. I like that idea, especially with how hot they are right now.
Yeah. You got to make hay when the sun's shining.
Yeah, that's right. So I made a few trades. I sold my Fubo, not Fubu. I keep saying that. FUBO. That went up 89% since we talked about it on the podcast last. So I thought that was a good time. They announced that they're gonna put live betting on the screen for sporting events. That's huge. I thought that was incredible, and it ran up quite a bit after that news. So I decided that was a good time to dump it because I didn't want to keep dealing with it, and it's nice to free up that money. Like for all the degenerate gamblers out there that gamble on every sports game, they'll have. It sounds like, just from the article I read, that they'll have your wager that you placed actually on the screen, showing you odds as the game goes along.
That'd be incredible, insane.
Yeah. So that's get yourself some Fubo if you're into that sort of thing.
I got to give you credit on that one too, because you had brought it up and I never purchased. I kind of thought, oh, it's already ran pretty well, and you were pretty gung-ho on it, and I should have listened, because that thing,
she just took off. I'm sure it'll still go.
It'll still go.
I have confidence in it, but like I said, I wanted to free up cash. With same thing with this next trade I'll talk about, but I wanted to free up cash for those SPACs. Neo, I got rid of my Neo. I got into that one at 35. It was at 54 at one point. I was selling. It stayed pretty level for a couple weeks. I was selling covered calls on my shares, and eventually it bottomed out kind of 38, 39, 41. It was just bouncing in between there, and I bought back my covered calls for gain still, and sold my shares, got the cash, and then I put that into funny enough, QELL.
Kelly.
Kelly. Um, so the reason I did that was because the management team, when I got it, it was sitting at 1069, so very close to net asset value. The the guy that runs this team was the GM of GM. And then the other guy, Ryan Popple, oh, Barry Engel is his name. The other guy, Ryan Popple, he works for Proterra. He's on the board of Proterra, and he's also on the board of QELL. So there's some speculation there
There is.
that they're
Sniff
going
it
to pick
out.
up Proterra, which is the largest EV bus manufacturer and battery producer in the United States, maybe the world. I
Wow.
don't know of any other one, but so I picked up a healthy of QELL, and then I also bought FTalk on a rumor swirling around SoFi. So what SoFi is, you've heard of SoFi, yeah, SoFi
Social
Stadium,
finance.
yeah, social finance. It's American online personal finance company. They're based out of San Francisco. That's why the Los Angeles Chargers and Rams have SoFi Stadium now. Beautiful.
That
Um,
stadium's incredible.
yeah, can't wait till fans can actually go enjoy it.
Yeah.
So SoFi provides student loan refinancing, mortgages, personal loans, credit cards, investments, and they also do banking. So they're a huge company.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's rumors about they're going public as well. And FTalk was brought up, and I got it right at $10, so there's no downside risk there at all
Love it.
before merger. So I just picked it up, and if that rumor, because these SPACs we've seen them climb just on the thought of there being a rumor.
Well,
That's what happened with Kel.
what did that
Kel
end
went
up?
up 30% last week because
What?
of the exact thing I just told you with Barry Engel and Ryan Popple being associated. But
Yeah.
they're a good team overall. They might pick up. They're going EV, so they're going to pick up a good company. They have to.
Well, you had mentioned Quell to me, Kel, and I'm in at 1087. It closed at 1293
Yeah.
on Friday, and there's no news.
Right. it's all it's speculation.
It's all speculation.
Love it.
So we'll take
Love
it.
every second of it. Let's see. Some more. Okay. INAQ. That's going to merge with Metro Mile. Some legendary investors are behind that one. Maybe you've heard of them. Mark Cuban.
Cubes.
Cubes. And then our boy CP, Shamat,
Salton.
Papalapatia. I've been working on that. Papalapatia.
Papalatia.
Papalapatia.
Papalapatia.
Papalapatia. And then GNRS. This came out last night. Rumor with merging with
I
cannabis
think
company.
it came out Friday between 3 and 5 because I got in after hours.
Yeah, after hours. Rumor with Leafly, cannabis company. Like we said, I mean, they'll run on rumors alone sometimes. So when it was after hours, that was kind of like a panic buy.
Same.
Not much time to like read up on what Leafly is, but you see a rumor in a hot market in a hot sector at $10, you can just go for it.
You pull the trigger for sure.
Yeah. And
Did
then
you get in after hours too?
yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
Then VSPR, that's set to merge with Hydrofacial.
Yep.
So that's like I don't know what company you can compare it to. What's Jenner's?
Oh
Cody
yeah. Is it just
anyway,
called Kylie or something?
yeah, I think I don't know. But it's merging with Hydrofacial, so that's like a cosmetic company.
Cosmetics, yeah.
So we got on that one early as well with warrants. So that'll be set to take off. I think that's another hot sector.
Yeah, I've been experimenting more with warrants, and it's been going pretty well. Obviously, when the whole SPAC market is hot the way it is. The warrants, so warrants function kind of like an $11.50 call option.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you can think about it with 5-year expiration. So warrants have been pretty hot, and
Yeah. And
that VS.
they jump in percentage compared to what a common does, right?
Oh yeah, significantly.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's definitely the way to go.
yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about one. Transfix. That's one we got in really early, below 1050.
Mm-hmm.
Tuscan Holdings. So THCA, the rumor dropped, still hasn't been confirmed that they're going to merge with Transfix. And we loaded up because not much downside. So just to give an idea, I purchased a lot of warrants and I got it in, I think at about $1.45 on the warrants.
Nice.
And
Is
they're at,
there a net asset value for warrants like there is
no,
for commons at
no,
10, or is it
no,
just whatever it is?
just
Go
whatever
for it.
it is. Yep.
Okay.
So warrants have no safety net, but
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I got in for $1.45 and they're at $2.08. So
So with warrants, they follow the common share for the most part.
somewhat, sometimes when you see or have speculation growing, the investors will go into the warrants first because that will have the biggest pop on news.
Okay.
Because the thought process would be obviously the stock's going to end up going up significantly, so the warrants will be a good place. And the warrants start trading around like $1 a share. And for a company like Tuscan Holdings, it's trading below 11, so it's still not even up 10% from its initial offering price. But the warrants that I'm in on, I've been
Mm-hmm.
$1.50 to $2. So the speculation ramps up quicker in warrants.
So
The risk is definitely bigger too.
right. So say you get in at $1, which would be the equivalent of a $10 at net asset value, and it goes down to 50 cents. You can't call and be like, hey, I'll take my shares back
Yeah,
at a
there's
dollar. They're
yeah, there's no redeemable option.
Gotcha.
But I think that the
That's a
situation,
common question I see, so
yeah,
just good to throw that out there.
good question. I think the situation with warrants, you want to be careful, minimize risk. So when we have a couple opportunities where we see like Tuscan Holdings, um, we saw that rumor with Transfix, and it barely moves the stock. I don't know if many people were reading or acting on it, but boom, get into the warrants.
Yeah.
And then once that becomes rumor to news, then go into commons probably, or reduce your position. The other one, um, let's look at. You talked about Green Rose. Their rumor is Leafly. Is it the
Yep,
cannabis
Leafly.
company? So Green Rose on Friday, it did go up after hours to like $10. It closed at 10.10, I think, after hours, and went to like maybe $10.30.
Yeah.
So another 20 cents. But if I pull up the warrants, those went up 17% on Friday, and then after hours, I think they went up like 40%.
Wow.
So yeah, you can definitely see the speculation on the rumors shown a lot more in the warrants. Now, warrants are also not available in Robinhood, so you're going to have a bigger brokerage to buy them.
Yeah. For sure. For
But
sure.
that's where, like, with VSPR, that announced Hydrofacial, it had a little bit of a pop, but then it seemed like people kind of forgot about it. And it sold off a little bit to $10 something. Warrants are at $2.08.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmetics, I think, are definitely an attractive area, great margins. So
Right.
I'm going to pick up some warrants, and I think I can go from 2 to 250 pretty
Yeah.
easily. I think Tusk
I
A will go to $3. And like I said, I'm in for $1.50. I think I'll go $3 this week.
I do too. I have pretty high conviction in that. And VSPR was one um that one announced like at 8 p.m. one night,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was Tuesday, it was middle of the week, and I texted to you guys. I'm like, well, let's get in this one early in the morning, see it
Yeah.
pop, and then so we got in and we got out quick after that
Yeah.
initial. I think it was just like a 15% pop, but that's 15% on your
Yeah. We'll
money
take it.
return in one day is, yeah, you'll take that any day of the week. And it's not in one of those hot sectors that we're looking for. EV,
Yeah.
fintech is another big one, the cannabis sector, all those major ones. So we just got in and people played the rumor, played the news, got out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Those are good plays.
There any other ones you want to talk about?
Yeah, a couple more. One, which I think is one of the highest conviction plays for both you and I, is BFT, and that is it Bill Foley's
Yep.
back?
Owner of the Las Vegas Knights, Bill
Yeah, so
Foley.
great NHL team, great atmosphere. Um, but they are going to do a reverse merger with PaySafe, which is comparable to Square and PayPal. I think we got in at about 11 and change, maybe close to 12, and it's currently at 14. It's been kind of going up 3 to 5% a day. And I think this is one where,
Yeah, there's been getting a lot of hype this
yeah,
weekend. Today a lot. I've seen people are expecting it to double, maybe triple. I've seen.
yeah,
There's a
I mean,
lot of conviction behind it.
it's a significant company already.
Mm-hmm.
It is not like some of these battery makers or EVs that are trading based on their blueprints. This is a company generating hundreds of millions in revenue already and a great marketplace
They're
position.
big in the iGaming space, which is up and coming huge.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
want to be the number one in iGaming, he said.
yeah. So that's a great sector.
Yeah.
Um, so
Just kids
currently,
making millions of dollars playing video games these days.
yeah, it's crazy.
That's ridiculous. Good for
And I
them.
think the pandemic has only made it grow a little more.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So that one we see continuing to truck up. The other two that I took very concentrated positions in these just because of the price. So I owned IPOC, that is Shamat's SPAC. He obviously owns IPOA through IPOZ. But IPOC, I purchased the day that they announced the Clover acquisition. And I purchased for about $12 a share, and it went to over 13 that day. Well, subsequently, it went to under 10. So it was trading for $9.90 some cents. So at that point, it was trading below its cash value. So I bought thousands of shares just because I'm like, well, I'll at least make a couple percent guaranteed.
Yeah.
Same
That's yeah.
thing with GHIV. That's Gore's. He has already had he brought Laser public. GHMI was that ticker
Yep.
before, but that one I was buying for $9 and some cents. It was quite a bit below 10, and they're taking United Wholesale Mortgage public.
Built-in covered call right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely risk-free money. So I had pretty good positions in both of them, and then they're both coming up on, I think they're going to complete in January of 2021.
Yeah.
Clover
Sounds
Health
like it.
and United Wholesale Mortgage. They're both companies with pretty good, substantial revenues. United Wholesale Mortgage has a really strong market position and has benefited from our interest rate environment. So loaded up both of those. Those have both in the past week started to take off and go north of 11. And still pretty good downside or lack of downside on those with the strong operations the companies have. So I'm still holding those, and I'll probably start trimming once we get near 13 on those and cycling into some others.
Yep. United Wholesale is pretty comparable to Rocket. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So I haven't looked at what Rocket's trading at, but you
Well,
have to
Rocket came out, I think, around 20. We were playing
in August.
calls
Yeah.
as it ran up to around 30. Let's see where we're at right now. Right now it's at $20.79, which this one's crazy.
So
It hasn't
it's
gotten.
gone down a lot.
I just can't believe it hasn't gotten more love
I
from
know.
the market, because they're making,
it's not a hot thing right now. It's just a
weird. They're making so much money and their growth is off the chart.
yeah. So GHIV, I mean, they're in the same
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah,
They
they're
got
doing incredibly well also. I mean, we're talking they're originating billions and billions and billions in
yeah.
mortgage and
I
make,
think if you're long on GHIV, you'll be plenty safe with that and you'll be
yeah,
happy with it.
yeah.
It's just, if you want to hold it, go for it.
GHIV is being valued around just over 16 billion right now, and Rocket Mortgage's market cap, I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up.
What's Rocket RKT?
Yeah, let's see what they're at here. 42 billion.
Oh yeah, so significantly bigger, but
How, like, the market cap's a lot bigger. GHIV United Wholesale is about,
I'm seeing 2.4 billion for
yeah,
market cap.
Robinhood's wrong on it.
Oh,
That's what I initially looked, and then Yahoo Finance shows it at 41.4, which is
okay.
correct.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So it's 41.4 billion. So I think in terms of a valuation metric, United Wholesale should definitely be around 15 at least.
Well, hopefully it reaches that. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I sure hope so too. Because I have, about 6,000 shares. So that would be pretty cool. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
So last time we talked about a little bit of real estate that you're getting into.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, that was a couple weeks ago now. I just want to follow up, see what's going on.
Yeah, so I was looking at the fourplex. It is an off-market deal, so still thinking about that and the potential business partner I might buy it in. Had a couple other deals going, so he wants to take another look maybe in January. But another single family came up.
Oh,
So, we've been very fortunate for a couple of reasons. One, thanks to you, we learned about SPACs in like March with Vecto IQ, March or May, whatever it was. So we've been very early to this type of structure, and we've kept up with it, and it's really caught fire. And you can tell it's caught fire because not just because of some of these like rumors and EVs, but whenever a company brings a SPAC public, it's a $10 value. Month and a half ago, they would issue them below 10, and they'd essentially give you free money just to try and get some purchasing going on. Now these are oversubscribed. So when they're coming on the market, they're trading up above their net asset value right away. So the demand is increasing big time. Institutional dollars are coming in more than ever. So it's just been red hot. And
it's fair for everybody.
It's fair for everybody.
Against the IPOs, which we saw this week, which you didn't talk about. We probably should have.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should talk about Airbnb and AI. We both got in a little bit of that, but either way, we've been doing really well, and that's why I was really hesitant. If I buy the fourplex is 450,000, down payment on that is for half is 50 grand at least. So I'm hesitant to pull that out because I know what kind of returns we can generate in a short amount of time. But I think I'm more open to it. There's another property I'm going to look at tomorrow in Minneapolis. Take a little bit of the gains out and diversify.
Sure.
I always want to purchase at least one real estate property a year, real estate property, as opposed to a non-real estate property. I don't want any of those.
I didn't even catch that.
But I have a closing in December for a house in Grand Forks, and then I'm looking at one in Minneapolis tomorrow. Should be it's a pretty nice campus property. So I'll keep you and the viewers updated if anything goes forward there, and I'll go through all the numbers on it if I get an offer accepted. But
for sure,
I just think it's good. It's easy to have the tunnel vision on SPACs, especially when the market's going well, but keep diversifying yourself. Not necessarily just into other stock market investments, but into other investments in general, whether it be Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, collectibles, real estate, whatever. I just think it's good to have a diversified portfolio.
You never know what's going to boom on any given month, day, year. You know, it's a good plan. So what we want to hear from you guys, what SPACs are you looking at? We want to know what rumors you got swirling around. Something we haven't heard of, something you want us to talk about, something we haven't mentioned at all. Maybe we don't know about it. Highly unlikely.
Let me drop a speculative rumor that I'm going to roll the dice on Monday. HEC, Hudson Executive Investment Corp. I'm going to buy some warrants on that.
You've been holding out on me.
I just found it tonight. Before this impacts our relationship, I got to tell you, she called me. Okay.
Tell me about it. What do you know?
We're just friends.
That's what they'll say.
So the warrants on this, I'm going to pull them up here. Warrants are trading at $1.13, so very low. Why is it on my radar? Because the relative volume, so the recent volume as compared to the average volume, has increased over 5 times its average volume. Now that's easy to do when the standard volume is pretty low, which that is the case on this one. But
do you see the volume right now?
Yes.
What's the number given you? 492, 690?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So that's the volume. So that's increasing quite a bit. But like I said, I mean, that's a small amount of volume. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to buy some warrants on that just because we're seeing an increase in volume.
And it's at $9.99.
Yeah, trading at $9.99. So we're below net asset value. People are getting more involved, so I'm going to buy a little bit.
Right on. I'm going to look up who's on that team, and I'm going to dive into that one.
I looked it up on SPAC Track, and they are a fintech healthcare target focus. And they have until, let me see here. The estimated completion deadline is June 9th of 2022. So they have time, but
2022, you said?
Yeah. So they have time, but I think the warrants could definitely, especially as we see SPAC demand going up, I think the warrants could have a nice pop. So I'm going to just dip a toe in, see if the water's nice.
Warm.
See if it's warm.
I like it.
That's my end of episode freebie for everybody.
And me. All right, Ryan. That was a good one.
That was a good quickie. I had my favorite Pinot Noir, my favorite co-host. And I'm in the Beat Lab.
Listen to that new Cuddy album.
Listen to that new Cutter album. So life is good.
All right. Cheers, my man.
Cheers.